Real careful about the match preview here. Okay.
Can Grubby make it happen? So Grubby's going to be running, of course, we've seen this time and time again, Miner, Giant, Poison against Woody, who's opening to bat with his mortar deck.
Yeah, I think he switched back. This actually probably is a better matchup for Woody, I think, than normal. Just because, well, actually, I don't know. Grubby is running 2 Giant-based decks, and Giant's really good against mortar and Expo, so this could go a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's going to be very curious because mortar, in many ways, depending on how you set it up, if the Giant gets too close to the mortar, then all of a sudden the mortar tags onto
Goes
your tower.
over it, you're right.
You know? So it's kind of interesting. It all depends on what Woody decides to play in terms of how he's going to use his Tombstone, how is he going to use his Minion Horde. I mean, again, Woody has been using his Minion Horde very aggressively for most of the time he's played this deck, but never forget the defensive benefits of that card.
It's a huge card. And notice that there's no Ice Wizard or Princess in Grubby's deck, so the best he can do is what, Zap or Poison, but both of those cards allow the Minion Horde to do a ton of damage on defense still, right?
Yeah.
It'll still tear up whatever, like, guard, mini P.E.K.K.A, Giant push that you're trying to put together when all those things can't attack the air.
And the big thing is he isn't... Grubby isn't running minions, right? And so really, if you just have a single Musketeer against Zap minions, that's still a long time before you get rid of all the minions, right? Because you have to shoot one at a time.
Absolutely.
Whereas minions are 3 shots at a moment, so they can actually wipe out a Minion Horde really quick if you assist it with Zap. But that's just not the case with a Musketeer.
So we'll see. Grubby couldn't have asked for a better opening hand, right? You got your Elixir Collector. You can just sit back and defend. I think what Grubby really wants is to be able to sit back and pump up, and then when Woody tries to get his little combos going, you can poison it, you can fireball it.
Woody could be going for an early mortar placement. We'll see. It might
I think he's actually just playing the Tombstone as like a pass card almost.
Yeah. There it is. Many times when Woody has the mortar in close to opening hand, he usually commits to playing it.
Yeah, really great Giant in the middle. Notice that the Musketeer's actually not under attack, so Grubby's like, that thing could not have been better placed, because if it was 1 square more forward, to be getting shot.
And here's the situation that we're talking about. Tags onto the tower. Maybe gets another shot.
Oh, the mini P.E.K.K.A got caught up on the behind the Giant, so he got 1 more shot off. So far, though, relatively even. That 1 Musketeer on the other side did a similar amount of damage, but Woody's able to keep pressing the advantage, because when Grubby plays... Oh, no, when Grubby plays the Elixir Collector... Actually, I don't know, that Musketeer was really good.
Oh, the guard
guards miss it.
Grubby just paid a lot of cost to get his Elixir Collectors down, and now he finds himself in a situation where he's... In a few seconds, he's going to have none of it.
And with a Zap on there, those guards are not going to hit the tower either.
Yep.
But... to Woody's defensive advantage, Grubby's damage is being split across 2 different towers too, right? So like, if that was all on 1 tower, I would say Grubby is winning. But as it's 400 here and 600 here, that's not nearly as good.
It's hard to call.
I love
that it's going to tag onto the tower.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I opted not to play the Giant up front, tried to play it back a little bit and build up a bigger push. I don't think this is a good play for Grubby here because you can't let the mortar get 3-4 shots on your tower.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
too
look
good.
at how low that tower is already.
Yeah. But I think actually what Grubby's trying to do is he's just saying, you know what, I'm not going to win the ticky-tacky game. That's what he plays every single week. I'm going to lose that. What I need to do...
defensively. Cleans it all up.
What I need to do is try to build these 1 big, strong, uncounterable pushes. Hey, great time of the poison. That poison's going to kill that princess, I believe.
1 shot?
Should have 1 more tick. Oh, it doesn't!
Oh my god.
So he has to play... So that's a big bummer for Grubby. He has to commit 3 Elixir. That's really not threatening to the tower at all. We'll get a few shots in, actually. Actually, I don't know. I guess Woody just opts to take it, but...
Okay, this time he plays a Giant in defense, but he had to play Giant Elixir Collector back to back.
He's broke, actually, yeah. So I think Woody can definitely notice that and try to take advantage of it.
Oh, nice. Musketeer.
I don't know if that thing's going to kill the Musketeer. Actually, it does. I'm sorry.
Nice. I like that skeleton.
Oh, look at those skeletons just holding the mini P.E.K.K.A in place as the thing fires over.
Is just going and going and going and
It doesn't even have to shoot its full health. I mean, it only gets 2 to 3 shots per. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Again, the Giant has to be played just in a very not ideal spot. And maybe that's going to be the big... Wow. Okay.
Oof. Yeah, those minions are going crazy.
Yep.
And Grubby just got his Zap back, but it's just not enough.
It's not enough. The miner's just sitting there.
Because they're not actually... The minions aren't in the tower range.
Yeah. Oh my god. Woody just, I mean, the way he plays his cards is just so effective. He's making maximum use out of every single card placement, and it just seems like Grubby has to constantly just play Giants in ineffective positions just to stay alive.
Yeah, when we talk about it's like a game of inches, like there's so many tiny little situations where you can gain advantage. That example of the Princess Poison thing is totally it. Woody's Princess surviving and Grubby having to spend 3 Elixir to do that instead of putting that 3 Elixir towards a big push are the sort of things that allow Woody to force you to play his game plan. No, we're going to play ticky-tacky back and forth mortar game plan. And the reason why are those tiny little one square off placements that allow him to eke every bit of value out of his cards.
It's so interesting because constantly for Grubby, it felt like every single card he committed to the board was a card that Grubby had to play in a suboptimal situation, as opposed to Woody. Every single card he played was like, that's a great counter, that's a great counter, that's a great counter. You know.
Now, one thing I think that it's worth mentioning is that now Grubby knows that Woody has to win with an Expo deck. The Expo deck is a lot slower, a lot less agile, a lot easier to counter with something like Giant and Poison and things like that. So I'd be interested to see how Woody can adapt and see if he can push through damage. One of the advantages for Woody, he's got Rocket to go up against the Collectors, but Grubby's just going to play his Collectors in the middle to defend against Miner and probably never put them in a good Rocket placement. So what do we got here? I mean, I think we put the Giant back up. Grubby's playing the same deck. He didn't switch decks up at all. He's not playing the Three Musketeers variant or anything like that. So he's gonna.
So this is a deck he's confident in.
Well, if he's going down, he's going down playing this deck at least.
Yep. We'll see.
Whew, almost. I'm so afraid of ruining this game. I don't want to ruin the finals at all.
All right. Second game, if Woody wins this, he takes another first place finish.
He will have won 3 of our last 4 major events if Woody can take this one down.
It seems like any event he attends, he just walks in and takes the money and walks out.
Just comes in, give me that, give me that, give me that. You know what, though? I'm rooting for Grubby. I love Woody to death. Everyone knows he's one of my favorites, but I love seeing new winners, and I think we've seen Grubby play in some early Super Magical Cups. He played in some Season 1 events. Didn't do so hot. I think still learning the game, picking it up. Has played a lot in the qualifiers so far this season, and has definitely improved his performance in the bracketed play. I'm very excited to see more of Grubby in the future, and hopefully it can tie this one up and we go to a cool Game 3.
Interesting situation. I almost feel like that Ice Wizard is kind of a lost sunk cost, and that's kind of the gamble of the opening hand. Woody wanted to play something instead of Leak Elixir, play the Ice Wizard, and it ended up going down.
Here's a challenge for Grubby. Where's Grubby going to play the second Collector? He wants to play it. Where are you going to play it? You going to play it behind a tower?
Yeah. He's going to...
Rocket.
Okay.
Rocket.
Yep.
Actually, yeah, Rocket.
Yep. He's got it hovered.
So even though that's 11 Elixir from Woody's standpoint, he can slowly win the purple game, right? The purple war.
Oh, okay.
Actually, maybe not with a Miner, though.
Yeah,
they're about tied up.
Stunned by the Miner.
And I think Grubby spent far less Elixir on that plan.
Yep. But Woody did do a significant amount of damage to the tower.
Oh, but that Mini P.E.K.K.A. Zap combo, that's a big deal, because Mini P.E.K.K.A. plus Zap can then the Mini P.E.K.K.A. can one-hit every Barbarian after a Zap. So you saw how quickly the Mini P.E.K.K.A. was clearing that up, and it forced Woody to play his Valkyrie to keep damage from getting too bad.
Very interesting situation. All things considered, Elixir Collectors are all tied up. Ice Wizard to take the Miner, that's 3 for 3. Barbarians on Giant, that's 5 for 5.
And other than the rocket damage, I mean, the only difference here is really the rocket damage on Grubby's bottom left tower.
And so Elixir even trades across the board for Woody. Woody got away with more damage on the tower.
Right. I think Woody plays his Elixir Collector in the middle again because, again, he knows that Miner's coming up. Wow, that unanswered Musketeer did several hundred damage.
In hand. Maybe Crossbow is the next play. Yep. Giant to block it, but Tesla Tower's ready.
There's the Giant.
Ice Wizard.
I'm surprised he didn't try something like Tesla, but that shows maybe I'm bad at the deck, because I usually try to put Tesla up there as much as I can. He uses Tesla in the middle to kind of draw... Wow, look at that Mini P.E.K.K.A. Zap is just going. The Expo is still shooting, but has, between the poison and other things, never actually tagged onto the tower. Just killed, the Giant and the other stuff. I actually think that went much better for Grubby than Woody, because the Expo doesn't need to kill the Giant. The Barbs will kill the Giant, right?
Yeah.
So actually, in this situation, I think Woody should look for a way to try to play the Expo now.
Again, he fails his defense on the Collector, and now Grubby's up 2 Collectors to none. And this might start hurting Woody.
Once again, that Zap. Oh my god, that Zap Mini P.E.K.K.A. Look at that. Just 1, 3.
Yep, and this is dangerous.
4.
Woody's running out of cards to play for defense. He's starting to get into... I mean, look at his hand right now. What do you play?
Yeah, that's the downside of this deck, is it has a lot of cards that are not particularly incredible on defense,
He's gotten his Valkyrie and Ice Wizard to survive, so I think he passes through that situation. But now he has to face Grubby with double Elixir Collector, and they're very healthy. There's
and the poison comes down. Like, poison's going to be so good against his 2 Ice Wizards, Barbs, and an Expo.
Yep.
And again, that Zap. Look at the Mini P.E.K.K.A. just getting chewed up. Oh, and he does not hit the thing.
Okay.
But even then, even just using guards, oh man, I don't know. I think maybe Woody came out on the better end of that one, but Grubby now has 2 Elixir Collectors, a 3rd Elixir Collector, and what's Woody going to do, really rocket it? I guess you do rocket it because you don't want him to pump up, but he's starting to have to put his damage on the other tower, which is letting Grubby get a little bit ahead.
I honestly think it's too little too late. Grubby still has 2 Elixirs down. He's still going to get that double pump push.
Right. I mean, I think the big key in this game is not the Giant. It was the Zap Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A. plus Zap was countering that Barbarian every time, and I think Barbarian is the card that Woody wants to play against Mini P.E.K.K.A.
There it is again.
And it switched what should be a counter into not quite a counter at all.
Yep, and this is what High Elixir does for you. The second Giant is the one that will push through.
Oh, I like that rocket. I mean, you might still end up not pulling it out.
Yeah, it's a very, very desperate situation. Giant's got to make it. It's very,
yes,
very
one
healthy.
punch.
Nice
plus the
displacement
Zap,
on the
2
Miner.
punch. Wow. Grubby ties it up 1 game in 1 game. And we did mention that before. That is a huge disadvantage of in the double deck format that you have to play. You have to win with both decks. If the opponent knows you have an Expo deck and says, I am not going to lose to an Expo no matter what. We'll draw before we lose to an Expo. That is really going to be tough for Woody to punch it through.
Yeah, and Woody ends up dropping the game. Woody has to stay with Expo, and now there's going to be 3 Musketeers.
The most high-stakes game of the tournament, the Game 3 of the finals. The winner takes home $200 in Amazon gift cards. Second place, no problem, $100. You're still happy to be here. We've got the 3 Musketeers version of the Giant push deck, and Woody's, of course, still running the Expo deck. Got to switch them up because they switch sides, different requests. Boop. All right, so what do you think?
Rocket and 3 Musketeers is...
They don't mix well together.
Yeah,
But
he will split them, so...
I kind of like Woody's chances here because the thing that killed him last game was the Mini P.E.K.K.A. plus Zap, and Mini P.E.K.K.A.'s not in this list, right? So I think that if he can defend his collectors a little better against the Miner, then he should be able to pump up and eventually get a big thing off. And of course, Grubby's going to have to 100% of the time split these Musketeers. If they ever get rocketed, it's terrible. But even worse, even if 2 of them get rocketed, that's a fair trade.
Yeah.
You know, you spend 9, 2 of them go this way, that's 6 elixir. If they get rocketed, that's an even push, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Woody to use this rocket. The biggest problem actually might be wanting to rocket both collectors and the 3 Musketeers and the barbs, right? If there's other stuff with the barbs. So maybe Grubby can overload Woody's rocket. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. It comes down to, at the end of the day, it comes down to how effective the crossbow is going to be, right? Because it doesn't, just because there's so many targets to rocket doesn't mean that rocket is a bad card to have, right? It just means, okay, so now that you have this good trade, how are you going to deal with the rest of the stuff?
What I'm really impressed about watching Grubby's play throughout this tournament, especially through the top 8, is that it seems more than most players, Grubby likes to make fake bad plays to bait you into an action that he wants you to do.
Playing the player, not the deck.
Right, like... We saw it where he put that elixir collector in the middle to get the poison to come out so that he could take over the poison. I think Woody has a huge advantage in this matchup, not just with Rocket, though, with Valkyrie as well. Valkyrie can counter the 2-sided Musketeer pretty easily. We just saw it over there.
And, you know, honestly, one of the things I think is hurting Woody in both this game and the previous is just his elixir collector defense has just been not satisfactory.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem when you have Barbs and Valk. You don't have like a cheap 3 elixir card you can play. You could, if you really wanted to, surround the barbs, like surround the elixir collector with barbs so there's one on each corner, and they're always there to defend. But so far, early good start for Grubby. Actually, I don't know. This Giant will probably go down. They might be about even. Woody has a little bit of an elixir advantage.
Okay, make sure you defend that collector.
So here goes. He's got the... There's no rocket there.
Defend it.
Too slow.
God.
Little too slow. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't have it hovered already. I feel like you would have had the defense hovered because you know what he's going to do, right? That also is going to come down to that we'll see how much that changes after the Miner nerf. So Supercell's already said that in the next balance update, Miner, which currently has a deploy time of 0.7 seconds, was an accident and it'll go back to 1 second along with like every other card in the game.
Okay,
So the Valkyrie, this is actually really good. The Valkyrie's on the wrong side. The Valkyrie's on the left side, which means that it should be played on the double Musketeer side, but can't do it. So while that defensive Expo will be pretty good for a little bit, he took a lot of damage on that right side tower that he could have prevented with the Valkyrie.
It's still damage that's being played, and Woody still has not played his rocket for any situation, neither the collector nor the...
Interesting play to play the Barbs by the river. I wonder why he didn't like split them or something. Like I wonder what the idea was of like, haha, I'll play this here. Especially when the Giant came down behind the King Tower. Maybe he's thinking like I can play Barbs and cycle back to it or something.
Wow, he just played collector in the face of barbarians. Plus the Giant.
Yeah, that seems really dangerous. And then the Valk should go on the left side in front of the double Musketeer. It does.
There it is.
That's a good counter. But the tower's not helping actually, so that Valk might go down. No, it doesn't. Psych.
Wow. Yep. And he still couldn't defend his elixir collector.
Yeah, that's been the big difference in this game. Grubby has done a great job making sure that Woody cannot pump up with this deck and really taking advantage of the fact that, look, I mean,
There's a
Woody,
rocket right there.
that's a great rocket,
Yep.
but Woody just doesn't have a deck that can defend very agilely very well. I mean, there's a lot of times where you're under pressure and your options are like Rocket, Collector, Expo. It's like, well, I don't want to play any of these cards. You know what I mean? I want to play Guards and Ice Wizards and stuff.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Valkyrie came up too early.
So
That Valkyrie's just going to shot to death. Barbs, maybe?
He doesn't actually have an elixir-efficient cycle.
Oh, no, and there's the Ice Spirit behind us. If you try to drop Barbs on top, they all get frozen, and the Ice Spirit's all gummed up, and it does! Grubby, the first second of overtime, takes it! We have a new Super Magical Cup champion!
Woody was trying to go for 3, but he got shut down by Grubby, who will grab his
Blocked.
first.
Congratulations, Grubby. Congratulations, Woody. Woody walks home with $100 in Amazon gift cards and, of course, maintains his #1 position on the Super Magical Point leaderboard, pushing his lead even further over Malcade. But Grubby makes a splash on the scene, doing really well in the qualifiers. Been watching the qualifiers throughout the week. We noticed him playing very well in a lot of them, but I don't think we really expected him to just bulldoze through the field like he did and get all the way to the finals, upsetting the most accomplished Super Magical Cup player, Woody, in 3 games.
So the interesting thing, and I think you hit the nail. I think you hit the nail on the head, right? Is that Grubby just seemed to be so great at playing kind of against the optimal strategy and making sure that he was always making decisions uncomfortable. The first game when Woody used his mortar deck, it really seemed like Woody was the one dictating the pace of the match, but ever since then, Grubby has just been so great, and throughout the whole tournament, not just against Woody, just making sure that he's playing things in a way that makes their opponent think that they have the right answer, and then he in turn plays in a way such that it counters that option very, very well.
Absolutely. Like, I think it was really smart. And actually, I like that 3 Musketeers is starting to come into the meta. Maybe that is a reaction to all of these giant poison decks that are coming around. I think maybe players, you know, it's interesting how people can outthink the meta. People think, oh, it's this deck's OP, I can never beat it. But these smart players are really going into the tank and thinking like, all right, if the opponent has Giant and Poison, but no Fireball, no Valkyrie, some of these cards that we used to see a lot of more but have come out, what benefits from that? What card comes out? And 3 Musketeers has been really impressive, putting 2 players in the top 4 this week after never having a top 4 appearance in the entire time that we've run the Super Magical Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Grubby taking first place. Congratulations to him. Grabs $200 and 500 points on the leaderboard. Woody tried to go for a 3-win record for the Super Magical Cup, but gets shut down and takes second place.
And actually, Grubby actually beat a killer's row on the way up here. From round 1 was playing all name players. Patriots 34 is another player you're going to see in a lot of these qualifiers. You'll probably see a lot very often in the Super Magical Cup each week. Master Sparky is another one of those qualifier grinders. There's no pushover in any chance. And actually, it's interesting that Grubby had to go to game 3 in rounds 1 and 2. You know what I mean? Like, this tournament could have gone very differently if not just for a handful of games along the early rounds. Grubby 2-0's Flash, who was the early favorite. We heard from a lot of players like Clyde and Naders and stuff that they thought Flash might go deep, but Grubby upsets there. And then into the top 8 round, Grubby 2-0'd Popcorn, 2-0'd Apex Predator, 2-1's Woody in the finals. Congratulations. So let's go ahead and put the group play card back up so we can see what people are saying in chat. What do you guys think in chat?
Congrats to our first place
winner, Grubby. What's the Apex Predator? What's the best use of the 60 quid that I won? Quid. What a Brit. What a Brit.
What is this?
Awesome. So we had a bunch of cool people turning. We got Ballatur in chat, and Yarns hanging out in chat from Orange Juice. Whew. Getting all caught up.
Man, there's a lot of people watching today. Big thanks for you guys coming out and watching the Super Magical Cup, the most competitive tournament that Clash Royale has to offer.
Wow, and once again, I think we might see a new meta. I don't think before this week anyone was saying that 3 Musketeers was going to be the big deal, but I would fully expect to see a large amount of 3 Musketeer decks in the meta this week because a huge statement was made by both Darth Jar Jar and Grubby that, like, hey, if everyone's going to be playing giant poison decks, we've got the answer. And it's 3 ladies for the cost of 9.
You know, it's interesting because 3 Musketeers has always kind of been in the background, right? There was one deck, 3 Musketeers in the Shanghai tournament, and then there was also kind of word of 3 Musketeers coming from the Asian region in the new meta once it came out, but just never surfaced to, I think, any kind of quality popularity that was you know, that was a tournament winner situation, right? It was just kind of one of those things that, oh, I think this works pretty well and we can make it kind of work, but it's not really a tournament winning deck. But Grubby has made it now a tournament winning deck, and we might just see more of it and players playing it with confidence.